Rumors have been swirling about the return of so many Toyota sports cars, the Celica, the MR2, and it was essentially, you could say, confirmed in some ways in this anime that they have on YouTube. At the 47-second mark here, let's go ahead and pause. Notice they're doing like a slow zoom. What are they zooming out? It already passed. All right. So what is this? You can see that we have Supra Mark 6. So in theory, they'll be coming out with a new Supra, a new Celica Mark 8. MR2, this Celica MR2 has been rumored to be returning from Japan anyways for a few years now, okay? So those two things were a welcome surprise. And then the GR86, a new generation of GR86, and then the GR GT3. Then best car, which we're going to be referring back to today. This was at the end of November, so about a month ago. Best car was saying, "Hey, we were there with the executives, Akio Toyota, and some of the other big wigs, Gazoo Racing, Toyota's racing division. They're like, yep, we're making the Celica. It's coming back." Now we have information coming from Japan that the Celica and the MR2 are not what we thought they were going to be. Maybe they're doing a bit of a fusion. Guys, grab your snacks and drinks, buckle in, and let's unravel what's coming out of Japan in regards to the next-gen Celica, in regards to a potential next-gen MR2. So if you guys are excited, smash the heck out of the like button, subscribe. And I will be doing a 2025 look-ahead video where I'll be detailing pretty much all the cars coming out in 2025. I'll probably do it in a live stream and then break it up in individual videos to start off the new year. So stay tuned for that. Also, my good friend David Chow from Automotive Press, he already has done a summary video of some of the topics we're talking today. We're going to take our own spin on it, but I will be doing a live stream with David on his channel at Automotive Press on YouTube. We have it tentatively around the 30th. All right. So stay tuned for a live stream on that. Maybe we'll discuss and break down this topic and give our thoughts and ideas. All right. So let's get into this Celica scoop. Of course, they have more information of the GR sports car, the GR GT3 I'll make separate videos on these models here, the baby FJ or the mini Land Cruiser. I have to make a separate video because it'll just be too long. So without further ado, let's get into what they're saying. Now they're saying, although it's not a new car for 2025, we've received some very important information. We're breaking it to you. So it's not coming in 2025. They're certain of that. Recent reports have said that the new Celica is coming in 2026. And since we're getting closer to the 2026 launch, we're also getting closer to the product being finalized. All right. So this is the shocker here, that the Celica and MR2 could potentially be merging into just the Celica. Now, Toyota seemingly hasn't said anything about MR2 revival other than the teaser we just looked at on YouTube. I think Best Car is probably correct in that Toyota is just having the Celica and the MR2 kind of in one product. But as a result, the Celica is going to be mid-engine, which is exciting. Mid-engine, four-wheel drive, or you could say all-wheel drive, the same sort of GR4 system that we see in the GR Corolla, the Lexus LBX Morizo. I know that one's a tough one for me, but also in the GR Yaris. Instead of the 1.6 turbo, the new 2-liter turbo with the red top that we've seen that Toyota teased earlier this year. They said, hey, we can do 400 horsepower. There are racing variants that go up to 600 horsepower on that crazy high revving, more horsepower focused instead of torque focused. Their current engines are torque focused. If you look at the 2.4 turbo in so many Toyota Lexus models, it's not very smooth. It behaves more in some ways almost like a diesel engine than it does a gasoline engine. So it just feels very industrial. It doesn't feel performance focused. It feels work focused. This engine that we see here with the turbo on it, that's going to be it's going to be a screaming 4-cylinder engine. Who knows what Redline's going to be, but it's going to be really focused on a bigger bore, less of a stroked out engine compared to what we have now. So that's exciting to me. It's going to feel more like Honda's incredible 2-liter turbo, which is silky smooth. It's fun to rev. and has great power and torque. All right. We'll talk about the design now. In the past, this is what the Celica was. It kind of looked like, hey, the rebirth of the Solara in some ways, with the Camry front end and a kind of a coupe-like Camry. Now, I'm not saying it's on the K platform like the Camry, it just was giving me those sort of vibes because it has a Camry front end to it. And instead of it being front engine now and looking like this, they don't know exactly what it's going to look like, to be honest. But they seem to be melding the two designs a little bit from what we have with the old Celica concept that they had versus, combined with the MR2. Now, the MR2, if I pull it up here, here's a side profile of the MR2. We're getting a lot of this side design, especially behind the front tire. We're getting a lot of that design here transported from the MR2 onto the Celica, like the hood scoop, the back end. This is all kind of taken from their MR2 designs. Now, this portion back here seems to keep evolving. Again, when you have a mid-engine orientation, you're going to have some air going in behind the cabin, right, to cool down that engine, or at least feed the engine with cool air. The first thing they say is Toyota just has too many sports cars. And yeah, that's getting to be the case. Again, back to this image. They were doing the MR2, the SFR, the Starlet. We're definitely never going to see these in America. The Starlet, though, seems to be primed for production. The SFR might fall off, potentially, unless it's this sort of package could be the third gen GR86. With so many sports cars, they have to really differentiate and make unique each single one of them. All right. Now, with the MR2 fusing with the Celica, that does that, right? The Celica would be too similar in some ways to the GR Corolla. Now, is a GR Corolla going to live on? It seems unlikely. I know it's a 4-door to a 2-door, but at the same time, you can't have too many coupes because we already have the GR86. And I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see how they segment and which vehicles actually make it to the market. But it seems like from a product strategy, combining the Celica and the MR2 is the smartest thing possible, especially if they still have the Supra. So that's also going to be a question, is like, if the Supra is going to get another generation, which I'm hoping it does, all built by Toyota this time, not by BMW, which is going to have its pros and cons, but that's not what this video is talking about. But the Supra has always sat above the Celica, traditionally in the Toyota lineup, but it's always sat above the MR2 in terms of raw performance. I expect that to continue on. I don't think they want to betray the traditional identity of the Celica and the MR2, which were affordable sports cars. Now, this isn't your normal Celica. Could they? Here's the thing. The Celicas of old, depending on the generation, remember the Celica Supra, this vehicle, the Celica XX, this was rear-wheel drive, right? But most of the modern ones, or the more modern ones, were front-wheel drive, if I recall properly. All right. And so you've always had within the Celica lineup possibly the potentiality of a four-wheel drive. If you look at the old GT4s, could we see Toyota stacking the Celica with different powertrains? An entry-level four-cylinder 1.5 turbo, that would be pretty cool. And then they have that would be a front-wheel drive, and then you'd have like the Type R, for lack of a better term, it would probably be called like a GRMN Celica / MR2, and that could have the 2-liter turbo. All right, Toyota could do a lot of stuff here and appeal to more price points. But the thing is, it's like, it's got to be cheaper than the Supra. The Supra is what, about $55,000? Let me look up real quick. $56,000 probably before destination. So it's got a slot below this. But when we're talking all-wheel drive 400 horsepower mid-engine, I can't see it being much different of a price than this, to be honest. So it's getting confusing, right? With the amount of sports cars that Toyota could potentially have in their lineup. So if we go back to this, maybe this was a drawing board of what they've been playing with. But this right here, this looks like a GT4 Celica. So maybe that's the greatest hint of what we're getting. The Supra Mark 6, it's been rumored, but like all the rumors we're hearing every month, it's a different powertrain essentially. All right. The current setup would be rear-wheel drive, hybrid, 4-cylinder turbo. The GR86, that keeps changing as well, from Subaru be involved to Subaru not be involved. 1.6 turbo to manual to hybrid, like we've heard it all on this vehicle as well. The GR GT3 is going to be a different video. That's pretty, it seems to be, there's not a lot of variance in the sort of powertrain in theory. Twin turbo V8 we're hearing, potential hybrid. But depending on how much Toyota wants to segment or have different powertrain or different features on this Celica, or different trim levels, however we want to call it, they could still do an MR2 Celica, right? They had the Supra Celica back in the day. Why can't they have the MR2 Celica, or the Celica MR2 edition? And the MR2 could be a T-tops or a drop top. There's ways that they could do it and bring in the MR2 nameplate. Honestly, the Celica nameplate, it's been around longer. It's sold a lot more. It's just been a much more globalized little sports car compared to the MR2. But this car is definitely an homage equally to the MR2 as it is the Celica. So, you know, they had to pick one name here, and they're going with the Celica, even though in some ways you could say it's more in spirit of the MR2. It says Toyota originally planned to make the GR Yaris mid-engine, but later it was changed to a mid-engine coupe type. But it's possible the Celica name was revived at the initial stage when the image of the rally car was still strong. I haven't talked about transmission yet. Yes, of course, we'll see a 6-speed in this MR2/Celica. Technically, it's probably a Celica now, but no doubt you'll also have the option of the 8-speed automatic that was just debuted on the GR Corolla, for example. Now, according to this, deliveries could start in 2027 with a reveal in 2026. And stay tuned, because guys, look at all the other vehicles that I'm gonna have to make separate videos for, individual videos, because this video is just getting too long, and I want to spend a little bit more time on these cars individually, and give you my 2 cents on what's coming down the hatch for these other models, especially the GR GT3/Lexus LFA. But the Celica here being mixed in with the MR2 to have just a more streamlined product lineup for Toyota makes sense to me. And to me, it never really made sense to when Best Car was saying, hey, with Celica and MR2, they're essentially going to have the same powertrain, GR4 all-wheel drive, same 2-liter turbo, just one's going to be front engine and the other one's going to be mid-engine. That just didn't make sense to me, because as much as I like variety, from a cost standpoint, I don't know how Toyota could ever make the case for having 2 cars in the same segment that are essentially identical. This isn't the 80s and 90s anymore, especially the 90s, where you could just seemingly make any type of car, small production, and not have to worry about nearly as much about emissions regulations or crash safety laws. So this is just going to make their life easier, making the Celica mid-engine. But again, guys, this is a developing story. It seems to change little by little. This vehicle itself, like compared to the other ones, has not changed nearly as much as the Supra, especially, or the new GR86. So this one, I just feel like it's simmering down here close to the final product, not necessarily in terms of design, but in terms of the details. Should be getting this vehicle late 2026, probably early 2027, but Toyota keeps delaying everything. It could be late 2027. I just don't want to get my hopes up of something coming from Toyota on time. Everything has been pushed back. Obviously, the Land Cruiser, the 4Runner, the new RAV4, that's even been pushed back. And I think that's just the tip. We're just going to see, well, just the tip. It's just a tip of the iceberg. We're going to see more things probably getting pushed back as Toyota's still recovering and mending from the safety scandals and other emission scandals within the company and their subsidiaries. So the fact that we're still getting a mid-engine Toyota, I think most people, I don't know why you would be upset about this. Maybe some people are like, well, it should just be called the MR2 and let the Celica die. But it's like the Celica, from a branding aspect, the Celica is a much more recognizable name than the MR2. And yeah, makes sense to me. But yeah, I can't wait for this car to come. I can't wait for more information. And I'll see you guys in the comments. Stay tuned for all the videos I have coming out in the near future. Thank you for watching. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, all that good stuff for you guys. Appreciate you for a great 2024 here on the channel, and I'm looking for 2025 to celebrate an even better year next year. It's going to be great. Thank you guys. I'll catch you in the next one, and peace out. Long live the MR2 and the Celica.